ReginaldESQ. Welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Russian Tier 3 light tank, the BT-7. So, is it any good? Well, it's okay, and it depends. Let me get into that a little bit. In random matches, your normal random battles, 15 aside, it's not very good. However, if you are part of a 7 versus 7 team, or you're playing in a platoon, it could be very, very good. Why is that? Okay, it's an excellent scout tank. If it has to fire its gun, it's in a lot of trouble. But if it's just scouting, it's very good. Unfortunately, in random battles, you rarely get rewarded for scouting, because most people have no idea what they're doing, and you'll be scouting heaps of tanks, but nobody will be shooting them. And you will find that you've been scouting the whole game, spotting people all over the place, and you've got about 30 experience for it. So it's not much use unless the people on your team are good, or they're your buddies and know what you're doing. You're telling them, I'm spotting over here, shoot everything I spot. In that case, you could do very well in it. Okay, so let's get into the review. It has 230 hit points, which is average for this tier 3. Its speed of 65 kilometers an hour, or 65.4, is super fast. The only tank that's faster is the Panzer C, and that's 79 kilometers an hour. But this thing is a rocket. I mean, the BT-2 was fast. This thing is faster. Basically, the BT-7 is an upgraded BT-2. It has, it's faster and it has better handling. Other than that, it's pretty much the same tank, but it's facing enemies that are, instead of facing a top tier, tier 3, it's now facing a top tier, tier 5. Now it has a track traverse speed of 54, which is absolutely awesome. It is the best of all tier 3 light tanks, and that's saying something because some of them have great traverse. So not only is it fast, but it has excellent handling. Although when you're going at 65, it's hard to turn, even with that traverse. Now the turret has a traverse of 36, which is kind of average. The view range is only 300, and that's not very good. That's the worst of all of the tier 3 tanks, which does limit its ability as a scout a bit. However, its signal range is 615, which is about average, not too bad. Now, camouflage-wise, this tank is okay. Look, its camouflage rating is sort of on the lower side of average, but it maintains its full camouflage whilst moving, and not all tier 3 light tanks do. So that is a very good thing, especially when you think how fast it moves. It's a bonus that it does maintain its camouflage whilst it's moving. Now, I'll get into the gun selection here for you. Let's have a look at the BT-7. Oh, and then there's something very interesting. Before I talk about the guns, the engines are weird. So we'll get them all up, and you will see, I think, what I'm talking about. If we have a look at this first engine, the 17L, it has 450 horsepower, 20% chance of fire, weighs 610 kilograms. Then we can upgrade to this middle engine here, which has 500 horsepower. It's not a bad increase in power. 20% chance of catching fire, 610 kilograms. So it's pretty much same engine, just beefed up. Then we go to this engine, which is a different engine altogether, and 480 horsepower, 15% chance of catching fire, and it weighs more, 750 kilograms. So from what I can see, we lose 20 horsepower. However, it has less chance of catching fire, but it weighs more. So we're adding extra weight, which is going to slow our tank down, and we're reducing the horsepower, which is going to slow our tank down, but we're trading that for a 5% less chance of catching fire. I tried this engine out, couldn't notice much difference, and so stopped using it. Why? Well, I want the most speed I can get. I mean, that's the asset of the tank. This tank like this is its speed. Catching fire, this thing can't take more than 2 hits from anybody, pretty much. A lot of tanks, more than half the tanks you will meet, can one-shot kill you. Most of the rest of them can 2-shot kill you. who cares if your engine catches fire? It's hardly ever going to happen, and you're going to be dead before your engine catches fire. So I don't see the point. If you had a tough tank, like with a lot of hit points, yeah, you don't want it to catch fire, but something like this that's just going to explode, there's no point. So I stuck with the middle engine. A bit of a weird one, that one. Now the turret, apart from giving you some extra hit points, doesn't change the traverse speed, it stays the same, but it does give you an extra 20 meters of view range. It's a bit heavier, unfortunately, and has the same armor ratings. But you need the increased view range because this tank has poor view range. Now, the guns. You have this gun which you had on a previous tank, and then you've got this autoloader, and then you've got the ZIS. Now, basically the BT-2 had the ZIS as well. It works a little bit better in this tank. It has a much faster aiming time, and I think a better rate of fire. But that's about it. Now, this gun here, the penetration's kind of lower than the ZIS. It doesn't do anything, it's less accurate, it doesn't do anything better than the ZIS, so there's no reason to use this over the ZIS, so we'll get rid of that. Now, the ZIS worked very well in the BT-2, where your top tier was tier 3, and the autoloader only has 30 penetration, so I decided I'm going to use the ZIS. That's what I decided, right? 37mm, has a 28.57 rate of fire, which is excellent. 58 penetration, which is good for tier 3. However, it starts to suffer against tier 4s and tier 5s, but it's okay. Has 40 damage, which is kind of tier 3. It's starting to be really low. I mean, that was great when it was a tier 2 tank. It was pretty good. At tier 3, it's starting to be not very good. 0.39 accuracy is okay at tier 3. 1.7 aim time is really good. I struggled to get a good game in the tank using this gun. I was going to come out and say that this tank is rubbish and it's no good. However, I decided before saying that I'm going to play some more games, and I tried out the autocannon. As soon as my first game with this autocannon, admittedly it was only a tier 3 game, and I had been in a stack of tier 5 games just before that, but it was a tier 3 game, and I got my best amount of damage in any game I'd played up till now. So I'm starting to think this is probably the better gun, and once you get to a higher tier, well, you have to shoot tracks and stuff, and we'll get behind them. It has 12 shells in the magazine, 0.2 to 5, so it fires 5 shells a second, so in just over 2 seconds you fired your 12 shells. 4.3 seconds to load the magazine, which is pretty darn quick. Penetration is 30, and if you want to load in 12 premium shells, they have 42 penetration. It does 12 damage per shell, which is pretty good, so 12 times 12 is 144, so you do 144 damage per magazine load. And it has a 0.54 accuracy, which is terrible, but a 1.5 second aiming time, which is sensational. Now, why have I gone with the 23mm, or why do I think that's better than the 37mm? I'll tell you why. The damage on this 37mm is just too low. So what happens is, you hit them, and they go, oh, this guy only does 40 damage. I'm a tier 4 tank, I've got 300 hit points. It's going to take him 8 shots to kill me. My gun has HE. I can kill him in 1 shot. Or my shotgun has whatever. Guys with autoloaders, I mean, T7 combat cars, the premium tier 2 tank that doesn't fire premium, only has will rip you to pieces because you have no armor and you cannot out damage them. You're only doing 40 damage per shot. It's just not enough in a tank with no armor. If you're in a tank with really good armor, like the Matilda, tier 4, only does 55 damage per shot. But nobody can penetrate it. It just sits there and slams everyone. If they angle it right. This thing, they see you and they go, oh, he's damaging me, and you duck back behind the rock. They just drive up to the rock. They drive to your side of the rock and they go, bang. You're dead in 1 shot, or maybe they go bang, bang, and you're dead in 2 shots. You maybe got a chance to pump in maybe 1, maybe 2 shots at them, and you're dead. You maybe did 80 damage to them. This gun, the reason why this works better in this tank, does 144 damage. So they're driving up to you, they're going to have a go, and you go, bah, 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 bah. You might not all go in, but you're doing about 100 damage. Now they go, whoa, and they start backing off, because now they're thinking, I can't take much of that. It actually gives you some defense. This gun does not. That's why I have decided for this gun, for me personally, the 23mm works better. That's my explanation of it anyway. Okay, so we've spoken about the camouflaged gun depression on this tank. It has 8 degrees of gun depression, which, if you know from my previous reviews, is the minimum I accept for hill fighting. So it can hill fight. It's not good at it, but it can do it in a pinch. However, your turret armor cannot take a hit. It's weak as. So you have to pop up, shoot, and then run and hope that they don't see you popping up. If you've been spotted, do not pop up, because they'll be waiting for you, they'll shoot you, and you will... Remember, you can only take 2 hits tops. Some tanks will kill you with 1 hit, so you can't afford to do that. But the elevation of the gun is very good. It has 25 degrees of elevation. And so, yep, the gun depression's okay, but you can't really utilize it. That's about it. I think we'll go into Tank Inspector, have a look at the armor, and then I've got a gun for you. I've got a game for you, with one with the ZIS gun, and then one with the 23mm VJA auto loader, so you can have a look and decide for yourself. Let's get into Tank Inspector. Here we are in Tank Inspector, having a laugh at the, look at the BT-7's armor. So let's see what we have for you. The hull, the general hull area, is 15mm thick. Even at tier 1, that wasn't good. We have a very strong little nose cone here, which has 20mm just in case you hit something while you're parking. And you have a area in front of the driver at 20mm, he'll be glad of that. And this front area of the turret is also 20mm. The section here though, just around the front where everyone's going to be shooting at you, is only 15mm, and the center mantlet area is a whopping 25mm if anybody actually hits that. Side of the tank is a uniform 15mm all around. It goes for turret and the hull. And the rear of the tank, well, the rear of the hull is 15 and the back is 13, and the top deck here is 10mm. This tank, you should definitely consider this tank as having no armor. Anything you come across, every tank can penetrate you. Every single tank. The only thing that you might bounce is a tier 2 auto loader might bounce off your pink mantlet bit there. That's it though. There's nothing else. So this tank, you can't go front line. Do not go on the front line. You have to go back and support. Yeah, I'm going to go front line if you're just going to spot. And if you're just going to spot, no one's going to shoot anything you spot at this tier unless you're in a platoon or something. So it's kind of a waste of time. So really, don't go front line. Hang back or try and sneak around the back and get artillery. But don't go anywhere near the front, because you can't trade shots. And anybody who sees you will just drive up and shoot you. If there's more than one of them, they'll definitely just both drive up and just shoot you. And you can't do anything about it. Every shot will penetrate. Alright, let's get into it. I'm going to show you first a quick clip of why you can't go front line. Then I'm going to show you a few quick clips like I often do of people, the kind of damage they do too, so you know who to avoid. And then we'll get into some gameplay. Okay, the problem with this tank being so fast is you can easily get to the front line first. Just because you can now doesn't mean you should, because you can't go in the front line. So I've got a buddy around the side there, he's taking care of this side, I'm going to take this side. So at least another tank's come up with me, that's something. This is a kind of map where there's no bushes, so you can't really hide and spot people anyway. I've pulled back because artillery, they've got artillery, and I don't want them to just zero in and blow me away, because one shot from artillery will kill me. Okay, 228, a tank with poor armor. As you can see, we only did 36 damage there. I'm using the ZIS gun. 37. So it's not much damage. Considering his gun does 85. Now I've been hit from behind. And I'm dead. Now, okay, so he snuck up round the back. And admittedly it's a tier 5 game. But that's what happens. If you go front line, that's what happens all the time. The enemy just drives around, goes bang bang, and you die. At this tier, the Panzer IV is your nemesis. You can pen it from the side, but you can't pen it from the front. And one hit, all your hit points are gone. Oops. I'm not going to bother spending money on a repair kit to repair my tracks. I'm screwed.
Penetrate their armor. We're done for it. Everyone get out. We're done for it. Everyone get out.
Now it's not just the big guns you got to worry about in this game. It's a Panzer 1C.
Penetration.
Got a shot into him.
They killed our driver.
I can't see if my gun's reloaded. I can't see my cursor to put on the enemy. Single burst. Full health to death.
Let's go.
Okay, the promised gameplay. It's a tier 4 game, so pretty good chance to see how the ZIS gun works. So it is a ZIS gun with 58 pen and 40 average damage. As you can see, this tank is greased lightning. We're doing 67, 68 Ks here over undulating terrain. Little bumps and dips, don't really worry it too much. Now the reason I do well in this game with this gun is because nobody seems to notice me through most of the game, as you'll see. If they do notice you, you die almost instantly. So you really rely on being unseen. If you can be not seen, you can do pretty well in this tank. So basically I'm letting other people spot for me. When you do your own spotting, remember it's got a poor view range. When you do your own spotting, you tend to get killed because they see you eventually. Now, I'm trying to hit the top part of the Valentine because that's the only part I can penetrate. And the accuracy of the gun isn't great. But remember that my crew in this game, it's anywhere from sort of 77 to 81%, somewhere around there.
Enemy is hit.
So the Kiho, Japanese light tank, and the kids are going crazy.
Penetration.
So we can penetrate some tier 4 tanks with this gun, on the side at least. Not that the M3 Lee is exactly a tough tank.
Critical hit.
So I'm pretty amazed at this stage that I haven't been spotted, or maybe I have been spotted but people have just ignored me. I haven't got 6th sense, so I'm not sure, but kinda was pretty sure I would have been spotted by now.
Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy armor
I'm
is
getting
hit.
really a free reign. Covernator. I'm hoping that the accuracy is the crew, although the gun's not super accurate, but a lot of it would be down to my crew, I think.
Didn't penetrate their armor. Enemy
So you
armor
can
is
expect
hit.
with a trained crew better results than this, for sure. Well, some other tanks are moving up, so that probably gives me a chance to move up. M5 Stewart's in front. He's got a little bit of armour, so he can take some hits. I can't take any. Alright, let's go. But we've got the speed. By the time he spots something, we'll probably have caught up. Look at that. Boom, it's a rocket, this tank. Okay, so we've got Artie and Armada 3. I think the M5 Stewart has hit the Armada 3 there a couple of times, getting some good hits in. So I'm just going to see if I can just isolate the artillery, so I don't want to get hit by the Marder. Beautiful. That's exactly what I want to be. He's actually focusing on the Stewart, and we get the kill there. Sorry about that, Mr. Stewart. And now, oh, he's not even facing the right way.
Enemy armor is hit.
So that was good for us, and he was tracked too, poor guy. Alright, it's mop-up time. Our team's doing really well. Oh, I got him before I could get there. One more tank left. Come on, we've got to get some more hits in. There he is. Oh, look at that. Sideways airborne. Put a shot in and started to give him a bit of a clip. Not enough to kill him. And someone else gets the final shot. good fun. Okay, so we won that game quite convincingly. So with that ZIS gun, can do okay at tier 4, as you saw. At tier 5, there's not a lot of tanks you can penetrate, even from the side. But yeah, it makes it difficult because it's, like I say, when you spot, not a lot of people will shoot at what you spot, and your view range isn't that great either. Anyway, pretty good. Class 2 game. Let's have a look at the next screen. We finished 3rd for experience and did okay. Damage-wise, we finished about 2nd. We finished 2nd for damage. The SAU 40 did a lot of damage. But all in all, pretty good result. Now, we fired 37 shots, of which 19 hit. You can see the accuracy was quite poor, but when you have a gun that's not that accurate and you combine it with subpar crew skills, it does make a big difference. I'm sure we would have landed some of those shots if the crew was trained up. Now, out of the 19, it hit 15 penetrated, which is pretty good. Damage was 554, which was very good. And we received 1 hit, which was a penetration, which really... I don't think we got shot. I think it was just a ram I did at the end. I got much damage myself a bit. We spotted 1. We damaged 7 and destroyed 2. And you can see there by only spotting 1 that our view range wasn't that great. But we did make good profit, so the tank is profitable. And what was it? 446 experience was enough to get the tier 2 class 2 badge.
Let's get this show on the road.
Okay, the map is Mines, tier 3 game. It's my first game using the 23mm VJA gun, which is the auto-loaded gun. And I had decided that, you know, that didn't have enough penetration, it wouldn't do any good. And look, it does struggle a lot of tier 4 and 5, that's for sure. But you can still track them, and you can track them more effectively than you can with the ZIS gun, because you can put a lot of rounds into the tracks and pretty much guaranteed tracking straight away. Now, this tank, the 1C, could devastate me pretty easily, so I don't want to muck around with anybody shooting him, not shooting, because I cannot let that 1C shoot at me, because the 1C can shoot me with 1 clip. Oh, it can kill me with 1 clip, so I just rammed him. Okay, so here we go. He gets a shot off on me, but I managed to get a fair few shots into him. Only 3 of them penetrated him though, so not a lot of penetration. So I decided to back off out of there. So with the auto loader, you have to pick your shots and not trying to shoot into the front of any tanks. And here now we've got ourselves a good spot. As I've said, if you've ever watched my things, if you get the centre of the map, you're pretty sure your team, in most cases, is going to win. And you're also in a position where yeah, you can dominate the enemy, because you can do things like this and shoot them in the back, and they really don't know where it's coming from if they're not experienced. Now, okay, so we've got the kill there. Bit of blind firing. I keep moving back after I shoot because I haven't got 6th sense and I'm close to the bushes where I'm shooting, so in theory I should be becoming visible. Now, here my gun depression is not good enough to get my gun down, so I have to move and actually push my tank slightly over the edge. But as you can see, the medium 3 has terrible armor, and virtually every shot penetrated there. Every shot that hit it anyway. Although it says we've got 11 penetrations, and I fired 20 shots, so maybe... Is it 20 shots? No, it's 12 shots in the magazine. So only one of them missed. Sorry, it was 12 shots. So I moved to a different position so that he can't shoot me through that spot there, because I figure he might be trying to line me up. But no, he's coming round. He's trying to assist. They're trying to cap, and he's gone to try and assist. Now he can't shoot me from here, and I can't shoot him from here. But I see his guns pointing the other way, so I decided, well, what the hey? Let's just slide down the side there. And in the back of the tank, of course, the auto loader works very well. I did track myself, but it worked out okay. Now I'm nearly dead though. I have been for a while, only on 7 hit points. But there's 66% capping. It looks like our team's got it in hand, but I think I'll go up and see if I can help out a little bit. The enemy's only got 2 tanks left, so they're not going to win. Now it's a M3 Stuart, and I have found these tanks a little bit tough at times.
We didn't even scratch them. We didn't penetrate.
Now we
their
did
armor.
penetrate with some of those. We got 2 penetrations, but it's a bit tough, this tank, for us to penetrate. We did have a bit of trouble. We've got another one in there. Another couple penetrations. But you can see the limitations of the gun there. And you do have to be close. I've had a game where I tried to hit someone at 350 meters. There was 3 tanks and they're all red. There was no point even shooting at them, and they were tier 3 tanks. So once you get a bit of range with this gun, it loses penetration pretty rapidly. 300 meters is probably a maximum range you can hope to penetrate anyone sort of in the side or the back. After that, you can't penetrate them at all. But the thing I liked about this gun is the whole clip ends up doing a fair bit of damage, and it just gives the tank a little bit of respect. People actually pay respect rather than just not caring about you and driving up to you and shooting you. Because you've got a gun that now can deliver damage, people are more careful. And if you've got no armor, you've got to have a big gun. And if you haven't got a big gun, you've got to have armor, pretty much. And there's the result. Managed to get a first class mastery badge. Now the first class was the best I managed to get in this tank, so bear in mind that that means there are other people out there doing better than me with this tank. So I'm sure, you know, with practice you could improve the results, but it's just not a tank I'd be prepared to struggle with. We finished on top for experience in that particular game, and top for damage as well from the look of it. And we fired 84 shots, of which 56 hit, which is not too bad from reload. I tend to spray rounds everywhere. Out of that 56, 36 penetrated, which I'm reasonably happy with. But that's a tier 3 game, so if you can imagine, in a tier 4 or 5 game, you're not going to get a lot of penetrations, but you can track them or get behind them, and you can still do a bit of damage. Or you could load premium if you really wanted to. Although it won't do much better with a premium. We were hit once, and we enemy vehicles damaged 5, which is pretty good. Destroyed 3. I'm pretty happy with that, and a little bit of assistance damage. Now earnings are very good. 17,000 and 16,295 profits. It's a very profitable tank and a high earning tank. I'm not so sure though. I got 57 compensation for damage caused by allies, so I wonder if that's why my health was so low. Anyway, that's it, folks. Thank you for watching my review of the BT-7. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. While you're driving this tank, you will have very fast fun.